Hi everybody, this is Lee here with another video. I'm driving instructor working in and around Middlesbrough and Stockton, and today I'm going to be going over another one of the test routes from Middlesbrough Test Centre. And while I'm doing that, I'll also be doing some commentary driving and pointing out some of the things that you might want to consider while on the driving test and driving this route. Now, as always, this is a route that one of my learners has done in the past, but it can be adapted by the examiners based on the driving conditions at the time. Now, if you do find this video helpful, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment, as it really does help. Also, if anybody else is looking to take the driving test in the near future, share them a link with the video, so they can take a look and hopefully get some ideas of what to expect. Now all that's out of the way, let's get going. So I'm going to be moving off now. Obviously, I'm not in Middlesbrough Test Centre today. It's a lovely Sunday afternoon, and yeah, Test Centre is generally closed on a Sunday. So we're just going to get going now. At the end of the road, we're going to be turning right. This is onto Sotheby Road. So I need to be making sure that I do all my observations, I do my mirror checks, pop a signal on, and I'm going to come up to the junction really slowly in the first gear, just so I can see what's going on and make sure it's safe before I move out, which it is. So I'm going to get moving. Now this road is a 30-mile-an-hour road, and you would be expected to get up to speed. I'm going to keep on moving. Now up ahead there is a red light, so I am going to be checking my mirrors. I'm going to start easing off the gas nice and early, and then as I get closer to it, I'm going to start squeezing the brake. I want to be waiting at the red sign where it says to wait, and I'm going to get myself prepped, ready to go. Okay, so when you are waiting at a traffic light like this, you might want to consider popping your handbrake on, popping the keys into neutral. So now the lights are changed. I'm just going to check nobody's overtaking me on the right as I move out. Frequent mirror checks. Okay, so at this point, as you pass this junction on the left-hand side, you might be asked to pull up. This is so that you can get the hill start done. Normally around or just before that lamppost. Just past. And at the end of the road, we'd be looking to turn left. Now with this, we've got to be careful that we don't give a signal too early for the car park on the left-hand side. So I'm just going to check my mirrors, start slowing the car down, and as I pass the car park, signal. Now lights on green, it's a filter lane, or filter arrow, so we're going to keep it moving. Okay, we're getting into a 30-mile-an-hour road. There is a cycle lane on our left-hand side. Going up and over the bank, up over the hill. Now at this point, as I go over the hill, I'm going to be looking at the houses that are on the right. You should be able to see them coming into view fairly soon. Now, if you're looking in the top windows of those houses, you should be able to see the traffic lights. Now, at the moment, I can't see anything. They are on red. So we are turning right, so mirrors, signal, move it into the right lane. Now, if I do see the lights in the reflections of the mirrors of the windows when I watch the video back, I'll highlight them so you can see them. Okay, so now we're into Normanby Road. 30 miles an hour, keeping an eye on things up ahead, giving myself a little bit of distance between me and the car in front. Okay, we have a crossing coming up. Now, if I'm looking at the left upright and the right upright, I can't see anybody to press the button, so it's unlikely that that's going to change. Now, the next set of traffic lights is a light controlled junction, and at that junction we'll be turning left. So I'm just going to watch the cars up ahead. You see, it's at the moment it's on a green light, but it could change to red like it's doing now. There we go. So all I want to do is, at this point, I'm thinking I don't really want to stop if I don't have to. I'm just going to start easing off my gas a little bit early, let the car start to roll up. Doesn't look like anybody's pressed the buttons, so that's fine. And there was nobody on the left-hand side of the junction to trigger the lights. So we'll keep it moving. Now there's plenty of cars parked up on the left and the right here, so we just want to be watching ahead, watching for anything that might be coming through the gaps between the cars. And if it gets a little bit narrow, we want to be considering whether we need to pull in to allow the traffic to move through. Such as this. So I'm just going to ease off, pull in, and then I'm going to pull out again. So we're coming up to the light control crossroads, and at the crossroads we'll be turning right. Now at this point it is a little bit of an incline, so we want to be prepared for a hill start. Okay. So we've got plenty of cars parked up on the left here, so I'll just check my mirrors as I start to move out and around. I'm just watching that white car, make sure he doesn't pull out in front of me. The road bends around to the left a little bit. Can't quite see what's going on, but it is a nice and wide road, this. So it's not too much of a problem. Now this is another point that could be used to do a hill start, usually by the red wall with the overhanging bush. Okay, so at the end of the road we're going to turn left. This is heading in towards Eston High Street and Eston Square. So I'm just checking my mirrors, popping signal on. In the first gear, because on the right hand side it is quite closed, There is a building, and the road also bends around to the right. So you want to be a little bit more cautious here. Make sure that it is safe to move, and don't move until you do. If you don't know, don't go. Now, when you do come onto Western High Street, if you're following a sat-nav, the sat-nav will think it's a roundabout. It isn't. It's just a road that just drives through. And on the left-hand side, you do have a bus lane, so make sure you keep out of that. So we want to get into the right lane, follow it around. You don't need to stop for anything. There's no giveaways or anything. The only thing you may need to stop for is this traffic lights, but we're not going to need to do that now. And I'm going to bring it in nice and tight. There we go. Now up ahead, there is a little bit of a queue, and they've got a bus that's stopped. So I'm just going to ease off a little bit, keep my space. Now, if you notice here, when I pulled up, I made sure I wasn't going to block the junction. So I pulled up a little bit early, kept it clear so that when the rest of the cars moved ahead, I was then able to get going without any problem. So again, there is a bus stop just at the top of the hill, or just after the top of the hill, and the bus has pulled up. So we want to be aware of anybody that looks like they might be looking across the road, or bus pulling out. So we're okay there. And with this road, just make sure that you keep within the speed limit, which is a 30-mile-an-hour road. It does have the feeling that it should be faster, but don't fall into that trap. Make sure that you keep within 30 miles an hour. Okay, so we are coming up to a roundabout, and at the roundabout we're heading towards the A174. Now this roundabout can be quite busy. It is light controlled for some of it, but you've got to take care with this one. Depending on the time of day of the test, it could be exceptionally busy. So I'm turning right. Now, I was lucky there. I'm going to get into the lane towards Saltburn and Thirsk. Mainly Thirsk, because that will bring me around. And as you look here, that the line just follows through. I was in the inside, now I'm in the middle. And as I follow the lines through and I get to the traffic lights, I'm now on the outside lane. And this is the lane I want to go up towards the A174. Now this road does have a filter lane on the left hand side, so you've got to watch out for any cars that look like they're going to be coming along there and merging ahead of you. So we're going to get our speed up as quickly as we can. We are going uphill, so try to use something like third gear to get that initial acceleration up the hill, get to the top of the hill around about 50 miles an hour, drop it to fourth, keep it going, and then when you're getting up to like your 60 miles an hour, then I'll be looking at getting it into fifth, because they're more my cruising gear. So if everything's done, I'm at the top of the bank, 60 miles an hour, fifth gear. So with the dual carriageway, when you're on this type of road, you've got to be looking to make progress. So get up to the speed limit of the road if it's safe to do that. Obviously, conditions dependent. If it's raining, you want to be maybe a little bit slower, give more of a space to you and the car in front. But in nice conditions like this, I do want to be getting up to 70 miles an hour, give myself a 2-second gap between me and the car in front. And if there are any slow moving vehicles, you would be looking to overtake them. So make sure that if you do have to do an overtake, that you're making effective use of your mirrors. Check them often because of the high speed of the road. Make sure you're giving any signals, getting past, and then when you do have to come back in onto the left lane, make sure you don't come in too close to the car that you've just overtaken. You give plenty of clearance. What I tell my learners is that if you can see the car in your rear mirror, you should be good at that point. Okay, so we are going to be coming off at the next exit, heading towards Ormesby Bank. So I have the 3 stripes, the 300-yard marker. Check my mirrors, pop a signal on, and I'm going to wait until I actually get onto the slip lane before I start to decelerate. So I don't want to be doing any braking or slowing down too much on the actual dual carriageway itself. All I've done now is I've just eased off my gas pedal, and now as I hit the bank, start to apply some braking power, and we're turning left. Now there is a filter lane here, and we're heading into a 30-mile-an-hour road. So keep it nice and steady at the giveaway, and maybe get down to the first gear because it is quite poor, the vision on the right, particularly if you've got cars there looking and blocking the vision up as well. Which I did, so I couldn't see, so it took me a minute there to get moving off. Now obviously with this, it is quite a steep bank. What you might be thinking about is using some of your lower gears if you're in a manual, to just make sure you've got the power to get up the bank without really slowing down too much. At the moment, I'm doing this in 3rd. So I don't feel that with 4th gear, I'm going to have enough power. If I did move it into 4th, I would have to have my foot down to the floor, and I'd probably struggle. Now, one thing to mention, when you're coming off a dual carriageway, just keep an eye on your speedometer. It can be very easy to get accustomed to driving at high speed, and then when you're coming onto a road like this, to continue driving at a high speed. You've really got to keep an eye on that. You will feel almost like everything's going in slow motion after you've been driving at 70 miles an hour, so you've got to keep an eye on that. Okay, again, so I'm going to be coming down the bank now. The car will be looking to pick its speed up due to gravity pulling it down. I'm going to keep it in 3rd gear still, because what I can do is I can use some element of engine braking, and this is going to help me to control the speed of the car. At the roundabout, we're turning left, heading towards Middlesbrough. So I've checked my mirrors. Now I'm watching that car coming around, just making sure that I know what's going on. I'll probably go after this one. There we go. And we're heading into a 50-mile-an-hour road. So again, just check my mirrors. I'm going to start popping my gas on. Still using 3rd gear. And then I'm going to go straight from 3rd to 5th. I don't need 4th gear at this point. I've used 3rd gear to get the acceleration, and now I'm using 5th gear for the cruising speed. At the traffic lights, we'll be looking to turn left, and this is heading into flats lane. So check my mirrors nice and early, pop a signal on, start bringing my speed down. Be aware that these could change, just like that. Yeah, so I'm just going to put my handbrake on, get the car into neutral. I think this might change in a second. So this is now a national speed limit, and we're going up quite a steep bank. So again, I want to kind of do this in third gear. Don't want to be getting to fourth or fifth. I don't need that. I just need to build some speed up. Also, what I'm considering, if we're looking at the warning sign up ahead, it tells me that the road is quite bendy. So we've got sharp turns and the sharp bends. And this is for around about half a mile. So I'm going to get into fourth now. We're about 36 miles an hour. Ideally, I don't really want to be going too much faster than this. You are going to go down a slight bend, so that's going to pick the speed up even more. So I want to be easing off. If I'm coming up to a bend, before I get to it, I'm going to ease off the gas. I'm going to be looking at my positioning on the road, so pulling it in and then towards the middle. So I've got some nice, I don't have to turn as sharply. Now I've got a sharp bend coming up to the left. Again, I'm not really pressing the brake pedal. I'm still going around about 36 miles an hour. I'm bringing it out towards the middle, and then I'm going to bring it in towards the cut, like the edge of the road. Keeping it nice and tight again. I'm just more, it's almost like I'm using racing lines. Speed limit 40 miles an hour. I have picked up a little bit of speed there because of the bank, so I'm just slowing the car down. Making sure I keep within the speed limit. Now up ahead, the speed limit does change to 30. You can see it on the bridge. So I'm not really pressing down my accelerator pedal at the moment. I'm just letting the car roll. I've got it to 30 now, so I'm going to keep the speed going. Now as I get around this bend, there is another speed limit reduction. It goes down to 20 miles an hour. So already I'm thinking I'm going to ease off the gas, start slowing the car down. Just after the bus stop, you'll see the sign. There it is, just before the junction on the left. So I'm bringing the speed down to 20 miles an hour into third gear, which will manage that speed quite nicely. Now, if you do think you're going to struggle maintaining your speed at 20 miles an hour, to help you out, you could always just pop your cruise control on, or a speed limiter if you've got that in the car as well. Particularly if you're going to go down a bank like this, you've got to be watching your speed so that the car doesn't pick it up anymore. There is a zebra crossing here, so just keep an eye on that. Make sure nobody's crossing the road. And you can see a little bit further on that the speed does increase back to 30 miles an hour again. But make sure that you are not doing it before that limit changes. So you've got to wait until you get past the signpost for it. Now we're coming up to some quite sharp bends. Bends around to the right, then bends around to the left. And then there will also be a light control junction there as well. So we've got to be prepared to stop. So we're going to slow down, get it into third, I think, going around the bend. Checking the lights, which are currently on red. So I'm going slow enough that I can actually stop without any problems. And again, I'm just going to wait here, put my handbrake on into neutral while I'm waiting. Now looking at this type of road, it is a crossroads, so the car ahead, I should have priority if I'm going straight ahead and he's turning to his right. So I'm hoping that he's going to make sure he maintains his position. But you might find that some people try to be the first one out, so watch that. Cars parked up on the left and the right. It's going to cause cars to come into almost the middle of the road. So we're just going to get past this queue of cars here, check my mirrors, I'm going to pull it in, give that guy plenty of space, check my mirrors, and I'm going to move it out past the cars on my left hand side. I'm also looking for anybody that might be coming in between the cars. I'm looking out for pedestrians, kids on bikes, scooters, that kind of thing. So we've got a light control junction up ahead. It's currently turning to green now, but I could be expecting that to turn to red. So what I'm just going to do as I'm approaching it, I'm just going to take a look on the right hand side. There is a car pulling up, which might trigger the lights to change. So I'm being prepared for that. It hasn't changed, so we're good to go. Car on the left just put his brake lights on, so they might pull out. Again, just be aware of that. Just checking the lights. Nobody's pressed the lights, so they're not going to change. And we've got a couple of guys on the pavement on our left. Just keep an eye on those. Should have plenty of room. Pedestrians on the left there with the truck. Again, we've got a pedestrian crossing, but there's nobody on the uprights to have pressed the button, so that's unlikely to change. And at the light control junction, we're turning left. So I'll just check my mirrors, pop my signal on, and I'm going to pull up further behind this Astra, purely because we've got to keep clear on the floor, and I don't want to be going into that. Okay. Again, this is Sunday, so it shouldn't cause me too much of a problem, but there is a school here and it could have crossing patrols out. So if you have an early morning test or an afternoon test, you may have to be aware of the fact that the school on the right might have people crossing the roads by it to get the kids, kids coming out, crossing the road, so like some lollipop people. Helping with the crossings. Okay, so we're coming down the bank again. Be careful not to pick the speed up because of the hill. Want to keep it nice and steady, nearly home, so don't want to screw it now. Check our mirrors, pop the signal on, get into the filter lane, keep an eye out on the lights as I'm coming into the lane. Slow the car down, get it into second gear, looking into the junction, make sure everything's good, there's no cars obstructing me. I'm going to turn it. Now up ahead, we've got some cars coming through the lights. So I'm just going to start checking my mirrors. I'm going to ease it off a little bit. Now hopefully as I approach it, it's going to change. So we've got somebody behind us that's looking like they want to speed off down the road. I'm hoping that they don't do something silly like overtake on this bend. No, looks like he's going into the junction behind, on the right. That's fine. Okay, so we're nearly back to the test centre now. We'll be taking the next road on the left, just after the green fence. So at this point, I'm checking my mirrors, popping my signal on, bringing my speed down, second gear, really low speed because of the tightness of the road, checking everything's good, and I'm turning in, keeping it tight. Try not to go over onto the opposite side of the road when you're coming in, so you need to bring that speed down. If you're going in too quick, you're going to end up on the opposite side of the road and potentially into oncoming traffic, so keep it low. And there you have it. So that test route has just incorporated Eston Square, Ormesby Bank, Flats Lane, and back to the test centre. If you found it useful, please leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and share it with people that are coming up for test. They might find it useful. Thanks for watching, and see you again in the next one. Take care.